the Retro Network Podcast.
Kind of like Home Alone mixed with The Hangover.
Pause, timeout. All right, I'm doing the Zach Morris thing.
Yes.
The flagship show for the Retro Network Podcast channel.
We've got some fun stuff in this episode.
Man, that's like listening to classic Guns N' Roses.
Even G.I. Joe fans are like, WTF.
Get ready for the latest pop culture news.
We've got plenty of recurrent events headlines to get to.
Man, can you imagine getting a service that streamed all these old Nickelodeon shows?
Interviews.
Let me just start out by asking you, what was your Batman experience when it first came out?
Yeah, summer of '89, I was very excited. I was a comic book reader.
And topical discussions on all that stuff we grew up with and just can't leave in the past.
There's just so many great memories that I have as a kid, just begging mom to go to the department store.
We were the target audience for Sears catalogs. I remember getting them and mom sitting down at the kitchen table and getting on the telephone and making her orders.
How have you not watched The Matrix?
When I went to the movies, I was trying to go watch a sensitive movie, the ones where you could put your arm around your date.
And now, here are your hosts for the Retro Network Podcast, Jason.
I like to have pictures with my words.
And Mickey.
I ain't farting on no snare drum.
Welcome back to another week on the Retro Network Podcast. You've got Jason here. Mickey is here. How you been, man?
Well, my blood pressure is still up.
Yeah.
You know why?
I do know why. It was a rough end to the week. Well, I got kind of roped into it because I wasn't planning to go after this, but once I heard you were having problems, I was like, well, I'll throw my hat in the ring and see if we can't get some of these Pringles. Oh my gosh.
Can I have the floor for a minute?
It's all yours. Stand up on your soapbox.
Well, for people, and there's a lot of people who's not even going to know what we're referencing, but Pringles every year releases some special flavors, Thanksgiving type flavors. Well, this year they've got the Friendsgiving Turducken 6-pack exclusive chips. And you get a turkey flavor, a chicken flavor, a duck flavor. The idea being that you can stack them and recreate the flavor of turducken. And it also comes with stuffing flavored chips, cranberry sauce, and pumpkin pie flavored chips. Mm-hmm. And they were selling them on their website, as you know. What was it, Thursday?
It was Thursday, wasn't it?
Yep. At noon. I had alarms set and everything, and I try to get on the site, and it is already crashed. And I can't get the damn thing to load. And I get on their Twitter page, and it says something like, Holy Thanksgiving. We didn't expect this kind of anticipation, and our site is crashed, and we're working hard to get it up. And so you and I are talking. We're both on the site. I've got it open in 4 or 5 tabs. I've got it on 2 phones. I've got it on a tablet. I'm just hitting refresh like I'm playing the damn piano over here, and never could get through. I think you and I both got to the point where it would come up long enough to put them in our cart.
Yeah.
Even fill in our details for shipping. And then that was about it.
Yeah. It was, I went through this several months ago with New Coke, and I know Coke is probably a larger company than Kellogg's. I mean, they're worldwide, and the same thing happened when I was trying to get New Coke, but they got the website fixed, and after everybody had calmed down, then even several days later, actually, I think several weeks, they had it available, the Stranger Things New Coke pack. Well, so everybody could get it if you wanted to get it.
Yeah, here's the main difference, though. Coke done that. They were pretty much taking pre-orders. They would sell as many as they wanted because they were producing them based on the sales.
Right.
Not Pringles. They started out with a limited run and then dangled that carrot in front of us. And you've got to expect, if you're going to run something like this, you have got to have your infrastructure set to where you can handle the traffic that you should know you're going to be getting. And if you're not expecting that kind of traffic, then why are you doing this promotion in the first place?
Yeah.
Now let me continue. And then to make matters worse, and you got this message too, if you tweeted Pringles about your displeasure, you got this canned stock message back from them advertising their limited edition roasted turkey flavored Pringles in stores near you now.
Right.
I mean, what the hell, Pringles? Was this whole thing just to create a media buzz over unhappy customers, just to advertise your mass market product, or what? Because I expect more from somebody like Pringles and Kellogg's. You expect them to be on the up and up and
Right.
and try to take care of their fans and loyal customers. And what they done on Thursday was very distasteful.
Well, I went back and forth with a couple different people on Twitter too about it, and they pretty much said they've worked for or know that it is a big ruse. It's just to get the buzz going, to get people on social media, whether good or bad comments, just to get their stuff trending. And like you were saying, it was for lack of a better word, canned response that everybody got back that, well, we're sorry, you can't get it. And I even took a screenshot. I sent it to you of my stuff sitting in the cart, and I direct messaged Pringles about that. All I got back was, yeah, sorry, we weren't expecting the traffic, but here's 20% off our store. Well, there's nothing else in that store that they had. The only thing that I caught my eye when I was in the store, besides going for the Pringles, was they had these Fruit Loops, like old school logo plates. I'm like, why are you selling plates? They should be bowls, right? And they had like Pringles socks, and there was some other retro stuff in there, but nothing that really appealed to me. So I'm like, this is worthless to me. Okay. I mean, I'm not going on to eBay and spending $100 to get one of these things that somebody got and that's the only reason why they got it. They don't care about trying it or whatever. They're just getting it to sell it for 4 times the price on eBay. And the whole system just sucks like this. And having a limited edition run, I understand that. But at the same time, if you're not satisfying all of your customers, you're making good bucks off this thing. It was $16 for 6, probably the little snack size canisters. It's not
I don't even
huge.
think they were that deep. I think it looked like you had maybe about 10 of each flavor chip.
I mean, it's $16 for that. I mean, that's crazy, but we're doing it because we wanted to try the different flavors.
Mm-hmm.
And you're making good dollars off this, so why not at least leave them up there to get everybody a chance to order that wants to try the chips?
Right,
because
who knows
not just the
how
eBay
many
trolls. Yeah.
Who knows how many sets they could have sold?
Right.
They produced them ahead of time. Here's an idea for Pringles, and I tweeted this to them. If you're really serious about your customers, next year try this. A few steps. Start a month earlier. That's number 1. Number 2, take pre-orders for 48 hours or whatever. Mm-hmm. Then produce what's ordered, and you keep everybody happy. Now, you have comic book companies, trading card companies. They'll produce lower quantities to drive up demand. But I'm sorry, 5 years from now, ain't nobody spending $2,000 for 5-year-old potato chips. It's a whole different concept we're talking about here.
That's right. That's right.
You don't need to drive up demand.
No, you really don't. And, the roasted turkey flavor, look for them in your stores. Well, as far as I know, they're not in the South anywhere. It's everything that I've seen that people have bought are up north. So it's not like unless they are planning to get to the South later in the month, they're not shipping them nationwide. So I don't know. Maybe they will, but that as a backup plan sucked.
Yeah.
To me.
Because I went on eBay and paid $11. That included shipping for a can of the roasted turkey, because not just which at this point I ain't even supporting Pringles, but not just to taste the roasted turkey, which I am kind of excited about, but in what we do, creating online content, that is a type of item that you want to do something with,
right.
Whether it be an article review or a video review or whatever. So I wanted to get those that's the difference between Pringles and TRN. We care about our community, and we go out of our way to try to find this stuff instead of like Pringles saying no, thank you, you buy,
It's pretty much. Gosh. So we kind of ended the week on a downer, but hey, we've got some stuff we're going to talk about to bring the mood up this week, and looking forward to our time machine topic coming up. And a restaurant, a food, company doing something to please the masses, I think, more than what we got out of Kellogg's this week. But just a couple announcements before we get into our normal show here. Patreon, yes, we've got the Outtakes and Stories #3 podcast. That's live now for all of our Patreon supporters. You heard the first episode in our feed here last week. We thought we'd give you that one just to check out a little behind the scenes stuff. And maybe we'll do that. We'll keep that in our back pocket like we've been talking about, Mick. When we do need a week off, we'll throw in one of our older Outtakes podcasts up here for people to listen to and give our Patreon supporters the exclusive on the brand new shows. Mm-hmm. So if you haven't listened to that, go back and listen and go there and support us. I wanted to shout out Jeff, who actually came on staff with us now. He actually upped his pledge this past week to $5, and we appreciate that. So at that $5 level, we give you a shout out. So we're going to give Jeff a shout out again on the show. And we talked about we were really hyping the Halloween sweaters, the ugly sweaters last month, and reached out to those folks again, and they got back with us. We're going to be doing some fun stuff coming up for Christmas too, with fun.com and their sister site, which is halloweencostumes.com. I went over there this past week, Mick, and they have heavily discounted those Halloween sweaters. So if you missed the chance to use the promo code and get yours before Halloween, maybe you were a little short on cash, whatever, they are heavily reduced up to 20 to 50% off from what I saw. So some really good prices if you want to circle back, grab a sweater for next season.
Yeah. And a lot of people may not have been short on cash. That high price tag on some of those sweaters may have scared them off. But the one I got that I used to do the video with, I can tell you firsthand, that thing is worth every penny at the normal price, let alone the reduced price, because it was so thick, so warm, so well made. The colors are bright and vibrant on it. And we've talked about on here just how many people would stop me and ask me about it when I was wearing it out in public. So it was worth the full price. It is certainly a bargain at these discounted prices.
Mm-hmm. And most of those, I believe, are exclusive, and they make them themselves. So yeah, it's definitely high quality that you won't be disappointed with if you circle back over there and get one of those sweaters like Mick was saying. So be on the lookout for some other giveaways and such coming up on the podcast and also on the website towards the end of November and even December this year. So what we teased it coming up in the time machine, sponsored by Retro Days, rip from the headlines, like they used to say on Law and Order. Our memories of McDonald's and our favorite Happy Meal toys. And the story this week, which we'll get to, is they're releasing those Happy Meal toys that are retro, that are from the 90s. They're kind of reproduced. I think some of them maybe a little bit different, and they're not like the exact thing, but I haven't really read into that too much. But with that on everybody's mind, and I'm seeing pictures all over Twitter and everything, we thought we'd talk about McDonald's this week. And
yeah, it's
our memories.
It's the 40th birthday of the Happy Meal. It's a good time to talk about them, and that is a example of a great promotion too. Is they've taken some of the more fondly remembered Happy Meal toys from through the years, and they're dumping them all into this 40th anniversary Happy Meal, and they're kind of blind bagged. You don't know what you're getting. Take notes there, Pringles. But now the difference being they're only running this for a week, which you think, well, that kind of sucks too. But this Happy Meal toys actually is a collector's market. So,
right.
That's a little bit different story. I mean, some people will get mad they can't get the one they want in that short of a time, but that's kind of the point of a Happy Meal toy sometimes, is the aftermarket value.
Yeah. And gosh, how many times am I in a antique mall or a thrift store or something? I see tons of Happy Meal toys, even some way back that I'll find. So they're readily available, and there is a market for those. So if you miss out on one of the new reproduction ones, you can always check eBay or even go down to your local thrift store and look for some of those, and you'd be surprised how many you can find just in stores like that. So yeah, that is coming up. Really looking forward to that and hashing out some of our old McDonald's memories too as kids. So that is coming up. But first, our recurrent events headlines for the week. All right, leading off our recurrent events headlines this week in movies, a couple headlines. Bill Murray is returning as Dr. Venkman for Ghostbusters 2020. And I also saw another article about Dan Aykroyd and his thoughts on the new script for the movie. He said it was a beautiful, heartfelt script that takes the real DNA from the first two movies and transfers that directly to the third, The Next Generation. And that movie is set to hit theaters July 10th, 2020. So it really sounds like Ghostbusters 3 at this point, which I wish we would have got, maybe in the mid 90s, a few years after Ghostbusters 2 had been released. But
right.
It's sounding more and more like what Ghostbusters fans have been wanting for a while.
Hey, the one with the all-female cast, I didn't watch that one. Is it set in the same universe as the originals?
Not really. It's kind of its own thing. And my biggest qualm with that one was it didn't know what it wanted to be. It wasn't a straight remake, yet it had elements of kind of that first movie, and even the bonus scene at the end, they referenced Zool. I was like, okay. And it wasn't really a straight up like reboot, or I mean, it was just weird because they had all the cameos and stuff in there too. But it was kind of its own movie, separate from everything else. Yeah. And I had fun with it. It's Ghostbusters. I love Ghostbusters. It's one of my favorite properties of all time. So people were critical of it, yeah, and I was kind of critical of it because it didn't know what it wanted to be. But at the same time, it's still Ghostbusters, and it was fun to me. But this is the movie that I think everybody has been hoping for, and I hope it comes through with that kind of extension, that same universe and everything that we know from those first two.
Yeah.
This one might be interesting. We talked about revisiting the Scream movies, at least you did recently with your daughter, you said, and they're doing a fifth Scream movie. It's in the very early stages right now, but I thought that was interesting. I don't know, when was the last one? That was still like maybe late 90s? The fourth one?
Probably early 2000s. Have you seen the premise of this new movie?
I have not.
So they're getting the original cast back, and they're using, how best to explain this? They're using that anti-aging technology we talked about with The Irishman. So did you see the new Beverly Hills 90210 series this year?
No.
Okay. Well, the premise to it was the actors being filmed trying to get back together to make a remake of their show. Okay. But you're watching it from over their shoulder.
Okay.
So this new Scream movie is based on the actors going back to film a remake of the original Scream. And they use the anti-aging technology, but the anti-aging thing apparently comes to life in those younger versions of themselves are trying to kill their modern selves and take their place.
What?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It's very convoluted.
That sounds crazy.
But I mean, it has this appeal to it in a whacked out sort of way that,
Well, it's the actors you want. If they're coming back, you want to watch them. Hey,
give me some hot
franchise.
Courtney Cox, I'll go watch it.
Yeah,
maybe.
Nev Campbell.
No, I'll probably wait on it to come to video. Who am I going?
So they're going to bring Drew Barrymore back and try to. Is her corpse going to come back to life? Hanging from the tree.
Yeah, I don't know. See, that's the weird thing. They're talking about bringing like a lot of the cast back. A lot of the main ones died off in the series. Skeet Ulrich, Billy Loomis, he was killed, wasn't he?
I believe so.
How you going to bring him back?
I don't know.
Hell, the way they're filming this movie, they could about do anything.
Yeah. So it's a movie about filming a movie that is not a movie.
It's like Star Trek 41, Scream.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with that. That sounds crazy. But the fact that they're trying to do a fifth one, I thought was interesting. We did confirm this past week, we talked about Hocus Pocus 2 coming to Disney Plus, and that original cast is coming back. So I'm curious about that. You're right. Yeah. I figured they would do it.
What are any of them doing right now?
Yeah, none of them are doing anything right now.
Yeah.
So
They're doing jack and squat.
Jack. No, speaking about 90210 too, I saw that show got canceled after one season this week. So, yeah, basing, trying to do something like they were doing, I guess might not go over well. Hopefully it's a low budget.
It was an interesting show in the fact that you would have like Jason Priestley, being filmed, like holding the script saying stuff. That's not what Brandon would say. It was an interesting show.
I'll take your word for it.
But it wasn't. If they had made a straight, 90210 30 years later show, I believe it would have done better than what they came up with.
Okay. All right. Well, moving along. Here's some other food news, some interesting stuff, I think. Cracker Barrel does a country fried turkey, and they're doing it for a limited time this month. And it was introduced last year. I didn't get a chance to check it out. I do like the country fried like steak. This time they're doing turkey. It's going to be the turkey fillets with gravy. You're going to get green bean casserole and cranberry relish. And of course, they're, biscuits and muffins. I like Cracker Barrel. Are you into Cracker Barrel?
I do like Cracker Barrel, yes.
I like their breakfast mainly, but I thought this was fun to do something for Thanksgiving this year, since they're kind of a home cooking type of restaurant,
Yeah, being retro minded and even really vintage minded, I love going in and seeing all the old stuff that they have when you're sitting in the dining room. And they always have a really good selection in their general store, country store, whatever they call it too. You can find a lot of old toys that I grew up with.
That's right.
So, yeah, I like my yearly visits to Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, we don't get there much either, but yeah, the store is fun with the toys and the candy stuff too, and it's a great place to play I Spy with the kids, definitely, when you're waiting on your food.
It's the time of year when I usually make a trip, though, because I usually pick up a few Christmas presents in their store, some old candies and stuff for the stockings and things. So I may have to get by there when I'm off, if I'm off anytime.
All right. Krispy Kreme, they've always got some interesting new donuts that they come up with. They just rolled out their Easy-As-Pie donuts through Thanksgiving. This is a trio of pie-inspired donuts. You got Dutch apple pie with the apple pie filling. You got caramel ice cream and sprinkled with the streusel topping, the icing. You've got chocolate cream pie with your chocolate cream filled, dipped in chocolate icing. That sounds like a lot of chocolate there. And then you get chocolate chips on top. And then you get cherry pie, which is the pie crust crumbles on top and a cherry filling with the icing. So I thought this was a great idea to do especially for Thanksgiving. But they don't have pumpkin. Where's the pumpkin pie donut?
Well, they had some pumpkin last month, I believe.
Did they? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I just missed it then, but I thought this was a great idea as well. Okay, moving along. We've got a couple things in pop culture, I called it. There's this Pac-Man maze that's touring the country, and it's basically like this life-size maze. It almost looks like a blow-up kind of a structure, and you get a chance to go through, and they've got people dressed up like the ghosts, and you earn points as you make it through and do different things in the maze. And then after you do the maze, they've got like a open air arcade there with several games and stuff that you can do. If you want to find out more information, go to themazelive.com. And where I found it was on a Florida website. They're already hyping it for like next October with tickets. So apparently it's a thing, and you got to get your tickets way ahead of time. But I went over to the site, and you pop in your city that you're looking for, and they'll give you some hits on where this live Pac-Man maze is going to be.
Yeah, I was checking it out. They're in Orlando, and after that, they're going to be in New York City. But after that, they're in rural Southwest Virginia, so maybe I'll get to play it.
Really?
No, not really. I am never going to see this thing.
Oh, man.
Oh, at least we got corn mazes and stuff around here. We're all right.
Dress up like Pac-Man in the corn maze. And then this was great. Timex is bringing back the old retro T80 digital watch. Just watching this video, I'll put the link up in the show notes. I was like enthralled with it, and it's got the old school, the green like layout with the Indiglow that you can see all the digital, readout and everything. They're selling them for about $60, and it's in a variety of colors. You got the classic black and then the gold and silver. And they have a special Pac-Man edition, speaking of Pac-Man, for $80. And I don't know, I kind of like that old style watch. And they've got the regular band, but what I didn't like about those that you would buy like in the Ames or wherever back in the day was the springy bands, because those always got like caught in your arm hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Pardon me, but that Timex T80 was one of the ugliest watches to ever grace anything. I have no idea who the market for this is. I really don't. And I'm looking on eBay. They have the new Timex Pac-Man T80s, $425, and this person has already sold several of them.
What?
Yep.
Wow.
Unless this is an original. It says brand new, so it's not original. So
well, there must be kifing them for a higher price than what I read in the article.
Yeah, maybe it's going to be a Pringles thing. Maybe they're limited edition. Here's others selling for $500.
Wow. What they should bring back what they should bring back is the watch that you could actually play Pac-Man on. I had one of those.
Or bring back the classic Swatch watches, all those different designs and colors and stuff.
Yeah.
Which we talked about that in one of our very first episodes. They were going to do that.
I think we did.
I know we did.
I don't know. I still like these old Timex styles. It's just the nostalgia of it and trying to lure people in like me. But I'm sure you could probably find one on eBay that was in decent condition, needs a new battery for a lot cheaper.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, all right, moving on to some streaming and TV news. The Rocketeer. Have you ever seen The Rocketeer?
No. I have not.
It is one that I have probably watched maybe once or twice, and it was when it was on cable years ago. I haven't watched it in a long time. But they're bringing it back. They're reintroducing it as a Disney Junior animated series. So unlike the original film, which was like a period piece, they're going to do like more of a modern telling of the story and make it, I guess, more kid friendly than, that was like World War II era, I think, or maybe even before that. I'm trying to remember now. But anyway, that's coming to the Disney Channel, Disney Junior, and Disney Now. It's actually out now. It was debuted on November 8th as you're listening to this. So check that out if you remember The Rocketeer and that was one of your movies back in the day.
Well, when I first read your notes and saw that, I seen it was coming to Disney Channel, and I'm thinking, why is this not a Disney Plus thing? But then it thought, what? They've still got to make content for their actual Disney Channel too, so something's got to end up there.
Yeah, you can't transfer everything over to Disney Plus, but you got to give those people that still have the cord something to watch.
It's not on your notes, but here's a good segue. We are less than a week away, and by the time you hear this, should be a day away from the launch of Disney Plus. So it should be tomorrow as this drops.
Actually, it is the day that this drops that you can get it. It's on the 12th. Because my birthday's on the 13th.
Oh, your birthday's in. Oh, happy birthday! It's a special birthday episode of TRN. Everybody, send your birthday presents to. I don't know if you want to read your address online or not, but he is not above taking cash, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't had time to do any shopping,
just go over there and support us on Patreon at the, $5, $10, $100 level, whatever you're comfortable with. Yeah, we'll take donations there. Yeah. our charity, like they do on Facebook, they get you they're already hitting me with it now. Your birthday's coming up. Why don't you tell people to, send gifts to this nonprofit? I'm like, what about for profit? Just send money to me. I don't have any charities that I'm volunteering for right now. So
we could make TRN a nonprofit organization and do it like a lot of those nonprofits do, where 95% of the money comes in goes to administrating the nonprofit organization.
Yeah, we're kind of doing that now.
But people feel better about donating to something that they think, hey, this is nonprofit.
Right.
Which
Well,
it would be.
I mean, we picked up a lot of the cost ourselves starting this up, so
Yes, we did.
that's why we're over there on Patreon. It's not to live off of that money; it's just to help out with the expenses that we are putting into this. But anyway, yeah, say happy birthday to me by joining us on Patreon this week. Moving along, the Equalizer. I remember my dad watching the Equalizer a lot back in the day. And I don't remember if I've ever really gone back and watched the show, but they made those two movies with Denzel in the last couple years that kind of rebooted that series. Well, they're doing an actual television series with Queen Latifah as the main role. It's going to be at CBS, and they've already ordered a pilot for the series. So from what I was reading, it sounded like they've made this a priority to kind of reboot this series. And it's strange that they didn't go that route first, but I guess if you get Denzel, all bets are off on television until he's done with whatever he wants to do. But the showrunners one of them is from the series Castle, which I really enjoyed, especially for the first 2 or 3 seasons. I think we watched religiously. But yeah, I don't know. Have you ever watched The Equalizer back in the day?
I don't remember watching it, no.
Yeah, it seemed like it was one of those maybe syndicated shows, or I don't know. It was on maybe an off time where it wasn't a prime time series or something. But I remember my dad really loving the show, and it's just it's the same kind of premise I think they're trying to do with this guy who's almost like Charles Bronson kind of a vigilante kind of a thing, but the dude himself doesn't kick the ass. He's just kind of sets it up for the people to, he wasn't a badass like Charles Bronson was. He was just more like a connected inside man. It was almost like a one-man A-team, if I remember right. So anyway, helping people that are in need, if the sheriff goes rogue.
Well, that's pretty cool.
You call the Equalizer. Anyway, be looking for that. And then a couple toy headlines as we end Recurrent Events this week. This Batmobile set that they've got up now, I just saw this week, several sites have been doing reviews. It's an 89 Batmobile set. The thing is huge. I can't remember how many pieces it has. It's several. I thought it was several thousand. It's going for $250. I think it goes online very soon where you can order it through the Lego store, and I think we'll try to have a link up for that. But the thing is glorious, and that's my favorite Batmobile, the 89 Batmobile. And you get the minifigures with it. You get Joker, and I can't remember who else. There's a girl. Oh, it's Vicky Vale. You get Vicky Vale with it too.
Did you just mention minifigures?
I did mention minifigures. I did.
Was that for me?
I did, yes.
Okay, well, folks, if you're interested in Batman minifigures, head over to minifiguresmarket.com, where we have the 1989 version of Batman and Joker, and we have the new Joker, and we have a lot of your other favorite villains too: Poison Ivy, classic Harley Quinn from the animated series, Bane, a couple versions of Two-Face, got him in black and white and orange and purple suits, and several other villains. So head over to minifiguresmarket.com and check us out.
But do you have a Vicky Vale?
I could probably make one. See, I could start with the Hillary Clinton that I've got.
Oh, I think that might work, actually. Just looking at
the
figure right now, that might work.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't put her in a pantsuit.
I could put her in that Marilyn Monroe costume.
Interesting. Now you're getting there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I am surprised. I'm really surprised. In the mail this week, we got an Amazon toy catalog.
I got that too, surprisingly.
Yeah. And we were at Walmart. Well, Walmart has one, and we were at Target yesterday, and I was actually buying a present for a birthday party, and the woman behind the counter was like, "Here, you should give me a code to text," and I got like $5 off my toy purchase there, and she gave me a catalog. So I got like 3 toy catalogs, Christmas toy catalogs in the house. So this is great because we always look forward to the Toys R Us catalog. Like over the last several years, we always got that one in the mail. And the Amazon catalog got it right because they also put in there's like a little Mad Lib that you can play, and there's stickers in there. So instead of like earmarking the pages, you just give the kids the stickers. Here, put a sticker on something you want to ask Santa for.
Did you also see at the back what else they done right? They have the instructions for how to take the boxes that your Amazon shipments come in and cut them out and fold them to make all these different play costumes.
Oh, I missed that. No. Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that, they were showing you how to use the boxes once you got your package out of them.
Yeah.
The kid on the cover is wearing one of those that you make out of the box. I mean, really, he is.
That's awesome.
But one thing they didn't get right, and I guess they can't with their business model, but I was looking through it yesterday with my oldest, and she noticed there's no prices anywhere in it.
Right.
Maybe that's on purpose.
I did read that because I was looking for that myself. And, of course, Amazon, it's all basically online. So you just have to go there and, search for whatever you want to find. But with the pricing fluctuating so much and offering discounts on like daily stuff, I've been seeing some of that this week. They leave the prices out so they can offer those discounts or hike it when they want to, when they want to control the pricing a little bit more. But I don't know.
If kids today get that catalog and get that feeling that we used to get from opening a Sears Wish book back in the 80s. I don't know that they do.
Well,
and the reason I say that is because they have access to Amazon all the time. They're always browsing stuff, so back then it's like, whoa, we get to look at all these toys once a year.
Yeah, well, the older kids might be on there looking for stuff, or they can look it up on their phone. But like my youngest, she's going to be 6 on Thursday, the day after my birthday. Wow. I got the catalog in, and I was excited. So I was like, oh, you got to check this out, Gigi. And there's got all the toys in here you can ask, Santa for. And she got excited. So I guess she was just more or less feeding off my excitement of getting something like that in the mail. So I think they're doing it right. At least they're making a tangible catalog for the parents that remember them back in the day and can kind of at least pass that on. By the time, my kids are parents, they're going to be like sending phones in the mail or something, just log in and here's our catalog.
Those little dehydrated pizzas from Pizza Hut, like we've seen in Back to the Future 2.
Yes. They'll be selling those ovens. Yeah. Oh gosh. Well, that was fun. That was at least a good note to end the week on when I was getting those in the mail and just kind of sifting through those. Mm-hmm. But just a reminder, we're going to put all these links. I've been doing this Recurrent Events post on Sundays now. After we get off the recording here, I go on and just pop everything and more, some that you won't hear on the podcast, so you can catch all of the retro headlines from the past week. Go check that out on the website. But coming up, finally, we're getting to the time machine, and we're going to be talking about our McDonald's memories and our favorite Happy Meal toys from back in the day.
Yeah, I'm excited.
It's going to be great. So don't miss that.
McDonald's presents...
Presents? Did someone say presents? A present for moi?
I once got a present. Wow, special delivery.
I'll look for the present somewhere else.
When you buy your kids McDonald's Happy Meal featuring Muppet Babies, they get a Muppet Babies figure with a push toy different Muppet Babies can share, plus neat cutouts on the box.
Kermit, surf's up.
McDonald's Happy Meal featuring Muppet Babies. Collect all 4.
Including moi.
They're cool and they're Hot Wheels. The happening new Happy Meal from McDonald's. You can collect all 12 souped up Hot Wheels from Mattel. Emergency vehicles, cool and classy, or vintage Hot Wheels. You can race them, you can chase them, and for more fun, each Happy Meal box turns into its own exciting speed ramp. Rev them up and rev them out, the super speed ramp. Hot Wheels Happy Meal. It's rolling out at McDonald's.
All right, welcome back to the TRN Time Machine, and we are going back several years this week and talk about classic McDonald's. And we did tease a little bit over there on social media, on Facebook and Twitter, telling you guys that we were ripping the headline out and using that this week. And I've got a few comments from everybody that hit us back on their McDonald's memories as kids. But I don't know, do you have any like specific memories, Mick, of going to McDonald's as a kid? Was it more of a event, I guess, to you like it was for me?
It didn't start out that way. You know, I was going to McDonald's, you get a Happy Meal. Hey, it's great. But it became an event, I don't know, probably around 85, 86, maybe when I was 7, 8 years old. My dad traveled a lot, like we all know. And when he was gone and my brother wasn't around, Mom and I would take off to the closest town to do her shopping on Saturday afternoons. And that always included a stop at McDonald's where I'd get a Happy Meal. She'd get a Big Mac. And we'd sit and talk, and I'd play on the playground a while. And then she would end the visit by getting me a hot caramel sundae. And we'd done that probably twice a month, sometimes maybe just once a month. But yeah, it was an event. And when certain Happy Meals would come out that I really wanted, that was an event too. She wouldn't just go get me Happy Meals for whatever it was. If it was something, and I'm going to talk about some of this here in a little bit, something that I was already into, then she would try to make an extra point to make sure that week we went to McDonald's to at least get one Happy Meal during the promotion. So I get something from that. But mine and her visits to McDonald's continued on until I was past the age of Happy Meal. And we were both having a Big Mac combo and sitting there and talking and stuff. So McDonald's
buying VHS tapes.
Yep.
At that time.
Yes, sir. That was one of the things her and I'd done to connect all through the years, was going to McDonald's together. So a lot of fond memories of McDonald's.
Yeah, I've definitely got some myself. I don't remember specific times or days or anything that the parents would take me there. I do remember a couple birthday parties there, which were great. And we didn't have like the playland or play area that a lot of them do, and a lot of people have really fond memories for. But just the aesthetics of the Happy Meal boxes, the advertising was what really sold me on a lot of this stuff. And of course, they had it during the Saturday morning cartoons and everything, and you would find out that they're doing a special promotion in there of something that you were into, like you were saying. And then it was like begging the parents, can we go to McDonald's for lunch, on Saturday or whatever, over the weekend when the parents were home from work. And that's more or less my memories of going there, and just kind of when I saw something on TV that I had to have and get a Happy Meal, that's when I was excited to go. And when we mainly went, it was more or less on a whim. So that's cool. And I've got specific memories of even just the boxes or containers themselves too. Not necessarily just the toys, which we're going to pick our top 5, but what are some of the containers and boxes you remember?
Well, most of mine are on my list, so I don't want to spoil it. Well, I'll spoil one. When they first debuted the Halloween pails, those things were awesome because it was too small really to trick or treat in, but just the look of it, and you could use them for other stuff, and the fact that they replaced the normal box with that plastic jack-o'-lantern pail.
Yes.
And then in later years, the Green Witch and the White Ghost. That was a really cool concept that I guess was a big success for them because they'd done them year after year after year for a long time.
Yeah, I do remember. Yeah, when they were all just the orange ones and then had different faces before they got into the green and the white ones. I remember that being a big deal, and getting the Halloween gift certificates too. around that same time. So those are kind of linked together for me. The ones that I remember a Dukes of Hazzard container, one that was orange for the General Lee and one that was, I think, white for the Roscoe's police car. That was pretty early on a memory. And then there was another one where they did like a spaceship and it opened up kind of top and bottom. Those two are kind of ingrained in my memories. I don't know what toys that came with those. If there was like Dukes of Hazzard toys, there might have been. Those didn't make my list, but those are the two containers themselves that were just different from the normal box that were great.
In those situations, the box was the toy.
Okay.
Because it was a vacuum form box that once you got your food out, you could put back together, and then you had a spaceship to play with.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I seen they had like boats and stuff as well you could take and put on the water, and there was a lot of those type of molded containers, that were really great. And I didn't really mention this. It kind of spurred me on to go over to YouTube and do a little tribute video, which had some of those types of containers in there too that I snagged. But I did a tribute video that will debut, I guess, maybe when this podcast drops, Mick, of just basically the boxes in the Happy Meal toys pulled from a commercial. And I found this great song. I don't even know who produced the song because it's on one video that I found on YouTube, and I've tried to Google to give credit where credit is due for this great song, but it's basically just the lyrics are just kind of take you back. They talk about going to McDonald's and getting all the items and the Happy Meal, and I think, what do they say? Golden Smile, I think is the name of the song or something. But anyway, we'll drop that. That'll help you get a little taste of, beyond of the podcast. But let's get into it, man. Let's talk about our favorite Happy Meal toys from back in the day.
I'll go first, but before I do, I sent Jason a picture of this the other day. I have an accompaniment for this. There is an excellent book by Terry and Joyce Lazansky called McDonald's Happy Meal Toys that I picked up several years ago. And this thing has pictures of every Happy Meal McDonald's ever produced, even the regional releases. It's 240 pages, and it has a little bit of history. And here at the beginning, let me see here. It says 1979, the Circus Wagon Happy Meal was the first national Happy Meal promotion. So I'm looking here. I got to go just a little bit farther ahead to see a picture of it.
Actually, it's in the video. I pulled one of those clips from a commercial with that Circus Wagon meal. It's in that video.
That Circus Wagon is the very first one, but there were other Happy Meals before that, regional Happy Meals and test things where they were testing the idea. So, but my first one you've already touched on. I'm doing mine in chronological order because it's too hard for me to actually put them in a favorite list.
Okay.
So first on my list, 1982, those Dukes of Hazzard Happy Meals.
Okay.
And that's why I didn't say much when you were talking about them. But those come out in 1982, which was earlier. I wouldn't have thought, being 4 years old, that I would still remember them as vividly as I do. So I was thinking like 83, 84, but they come out in 1982. And you're right, they were the vacuum form containers. And there were 5 different ones. You had the orange General Lee that you mentioned, and you had Roscoe's car. You also had a white Boss Hogg car, Daisy's Jeep, and Uncle Jesse's truck.
Oh, and wow.
I remember having all of those at the time. That was one that I really was head over heels into. And part of the promotion, if you bought the Dukes of Hazzard Happy Meal, you could upgrade your Happy Meal drink to a large drink, and it came in the Dukes of Hazzard plastic cup.
Oh, nice.
They had 6 of those. You had, Bo and Luke each had their separate cup, and then Roscoe, Boss Hogg, Daisy, and Uncle Jesse.
So Cooter got the shaft, huh?
Cooter got the shaft. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize they had 5 of those. But in 82, gosh, I was only 6 years old. So that's crazy that I can still remember that.
And the boxes came plain Jane, undecorated, but inside the box
the stickers.
Was the sticker sheet.
Yeah.
For the windshields and to put on for like where the tires would go and the headlights and stuff. And I remember taking these, Dukes of Hazzard was famous for the car chases and crashes. I would take these with that vacuum form and run them into each other, and they would get all crinkled up. then you open them and push them back out from the inside.
Pop them back in.
Well, you could do that a few times anyway.
Right, yeah.
But
They were
that
still cheap plastic, but
that's the earliest Happy Meal I can remember.
yeah.
And before you go on to your first pick, the spaceships that you were talking about came out in 1981.
Oh wow.
They're
Okay.
here on the opposite page of the Dukes of Hazzard in this book, and there were I can't tell if there were four different ones: a blue one, a light green, a dark green, and a red.
That's crazy that I can remember getting those Happy Meals specifically, 5 and
Well,
6 years old.
As an honorable mention on my list in 1981, there was the McDonald Land Express, which were train cars in vacuum form.
Cool.
But at the back in front of them, it had a little tab that you could pop them together and actually hook the different boxes together. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah, there was an engine, a caboose, a box car, a simulated flatbed with something on it. I think there were only 4 cars in that one. But
Cool.
no, I lie. That was from 1982 as well. There were 2 colors of engines, 2 colors of cabooses, and 3 different colors of box cars, and different stickers change them into different box cars. So
Fun.
yeah. Well, that's my
Okay.
first pick.
Okay, maybe I'll go in chronological order then with mine, because I did write down the years. So I'm going to go back to the original Hot Wheels, which was the, I think, 83, 84 time frame. And I think they did several releases, and they had, with each release, they changed up the cars a bit. But I remember having several specific cars in my Hot Wheels collection that I got from McDonald's, and those were some of the best commercials too, going back to watch, because they put the track, like, I don't think it came with the orange track, but it looked like the box was set up that you could run orange track through it or something, and or jump your car through there.
I know later releases, they did have perforated sides on the boxes that you could punch out to make like a tunnel through the box. So
maybe that was it. Yeah. That was later on. But yeah, back in the day, the sheriff car that had the 701 on the roof, it was a black and white sheriff car. I remember having that. There was the like General Lee knockoff, which is the Dixie Challenger they called. I had that one. The old, like, back in the 50s blue pickup with the yellow motorcycles, plastic motorcycles in the bed. I had that one in my collection. That was a McDonald's car. The long dragster one with the pointy nose, they call it the Tricar X8. That's a specific one I remember pulling out of a Happy Meal.
Red with white fins.
Yes,
or something, right?
yes, had the white fin, and I think the red, like, rubberized nose, so you didn't like take out somebody's eye with it. And then the other two, the funny car that you could lift up the whole body, and you had the engine and everything on the inside, like you could lift that up and see. And then there's one called the Baja Breaker, which was an orange like van with a black hood. Yeah, that you could open up. Those are the specific cars, just looking at the advertisements and stuff, that I remember having in my collection, and that they probably came from Happy Meals. So,
well, I'm looking here at the original 1983 release, and that funny car is not listed, or is not pictured anyway.
that might have been the next year then. Because I
Right.
saw 2 different advertisements or lists that had that funny car was like one of the first ones out and then in the list.
And also, it's interesting to note here on these pictures, it shows all of these Hot Wheels individually packaged in Hot Wheels packaging. But it says it was a national distribution. It was optional too. Not McDonald's weren't required to take care of it. Different cars were given out and or sold in different regions, which seems to contradict the next part here. But cars could be purchased for 59 cents after purchasing a Happy Meal. So I guess you had to buy those in addition. And it's really interesting. There's a big picture here, 14 cars in all, a different car every day. And it shows them all on display and what day of each week that car would be the Happy Meal toy.
Interesting.
And it says that here in another advertisement. It shows a different car every day. That van you were talking about, the promotion started on a Friday. It was the 3rd one released. It came out on the Sunday of the first week. So It's interesting. This book is fantastic.
It sounds it, man. I'm gonna have to pick up a copy myself. We'll put a link in the show notes.
Well, I had to get
on
this
Amazon or something.
Well, it's not. I had to get it. Well, I got it used through Amazon. It was the only copy of it I could find then. There may be some others now on there, but
we'll try to do some research.
When is this book from anyway? Let me see. 1995. So this is up through 95. Nothing after that apparently.
Well,
Which
that's all you need.
That's all I need. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. What's your next one?
Well, let me just keep touching. I counted here on this picture. There's 14. I remember now. My brother may have gotten them because I inherited all his Hot Wheels. They all become one big collection. But there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of the 14 cars I remember having. Wow. So if these were, and it may be that these weren't exclusive to McDonald's, like they may have been in the store and you could have got them both ways. So I'm not sure all of his came. But the next one on my list, we're going to 1986, and much like the Halloween pails that they done, we've got the beach pail, Happy Meals, where you got the bucket for the beach with a handle and a lid, and it come with a plastic shovel. Mm-hmm. And I remember this come out in 86. There was an earlier version, but I can actually remember some of the designs on the bucket I had. Helped me track down exactly which set I had. We used to take the yearly trips to the beach, and I remember getting this at the beach and taking it to the beach to play with it. And for years, the reason I can remember the design, for years after that trip, it's what my mom kept her clothespins in the washroom to take out to hang clothes on the wash. Yeah, and when the Halloween pails come along after that, that's what the clothespins went into.
Yeah, I don't remember the beach ones specifically, but I did. That was another one that I found the commercial for on YouTube and put in that tribute video.
Well, they changed it up slightly the following year. It was the same buckets with a different design, and they added a plastic rake. They called them picnic pails that year. So you were either going to get a shovel or a rake to go play in the yard with, I guess. And gotcha. The beach pails weren't the first ones. In 84, they had some Olympic pails. I don't know what the tie-in was, but it was buckets with celebrating the 84 Olympics.
Buckets of gold medals. I don't know. That is weird. All right. The next one for me, I think was in the 84, 85 era, and that was the pullback racers.
Oh, yes. They came out several times.
Right. And they had the McDonald's land characters. You had the ones that I specifically remember having was the Big Mac with the police car.
Yep, I had that too.
And the Hamburglar, he was in the longer kind of red race car. Mm-hmm. They also had a Ronald in the yellow Jeep and Bertie in the pink race car. Made by Ertl, but I was a huge fan of the penny racers back in the day. You remember those?
Yeah. Oh man, yes, sir.
Oh gosh, I loved those. And I don't remember these specifically being penny racers, but I think they were just pullback, and some of the shorter ones I think would still do a little wheelie as you let them go. But I loved penny racers back in the day, and those were perfect, man.
Yeah. Did you say you had one with Bertie in it? Because I don't think she come along to 87.
No, I didn't have the Bertie one. I had the Big Mac in the police car and the Hamburglar in that red race car.
Yeah, I believe 80. It says Fastback 2 or Fast Max 2 is what they were called. Mm-hmm. So it says Fast Max 2. I was flipping back to find the first series of them and see when they came out, but I'm not seeing them. I'm not seeing them right now. I had seen them earlier today, and I think. Oh, wait a minute. 1984 was the first ones. Big Mac in the white police car, Hamburglar in the red sports car, the Mayor in the pink Sun Cruiser, and Ronald in a yellow Jeep. And then 85, you had Bertie in the pink Sun Cruiser, Hamburglar in the red sports car, a re-release, Big Mac in the white car, re-release, and then Ronald was in the same yellow Jeep. So it's like they replaced the Mayor with Bertie, and all the rest of the cars were the same that year. So
gotcha. Yeah, those were great. I remember playing with those a lot.
Well, my mom, it's not something I brought here. She still has the Mayor or the cop. Still has the cop in the white car down at her house.
Cool. Yeah. I wish I kept some of these, but Yeah, I mean, Happy Meal toys weren't, unless you're buying Hot Wheels that were actually legit Hot Wheels, A lot of this stuff was just plastic, and you play with it a few times and something happens to it, and that's it. And they get thrown away,
Well, they
so
were
I don't
great.
have much left.
Besides, like you said, the real toys, they were great for the fact that if you were going to get a Happy Meal, but you weren't going to a store, or you were and you weren't going to be bought a toy, like when we were growing up, you didn't get something every time you went to the store. At least this gave you a new quote unquote toy for a couple of days.
Right.
So,
yep. Yeah. Perfect. All right. What's next?
1986, the first year they released little packs of Constructs with Happy Meals, which longtime fans of the Retro Network, one of the earliest things we put on there was me talking about how Constructs were one of the best toys of the 80s. And I remember having all of these sets. This would have been one that I convinced my mother, since I was already into Constructs, that I wanted to get all these. And there were 4 different little sets where you could build 4 standalone toys, but when you got all 4, you put them together and it made a pretty nice little spaceship.
Cool.
If you managed to get all 4 of them. And it had the glow-in-the-dark space pieces. I think it was the year the space pieces came out in the regular line, too. Yeah, there were 4 different sets. I had them all, and it made a nice little spaceship when you were done.
Cool. I didn't get into Constructs as a kid, and really not Legos too much. I know they did Legos with Happy Meals
several times.
For several years. So that was not really something I got into or ever remember collecting from McDonald's.
Well, like the Hot Wheels, and I think parents were easier to convince to get you a Happy Meal if it had a real toy in it.
Right, yeah.
Like, I'm already into Constructs, and you have to buy sets to get more pieces. Well, here's a way to get me something to eat for dinner and some more Constructs. So my mother was not opposed to that in any way necessarily. So.
All right, well, next up for me, we're going to jump to 1987 and the Muppet Babies.
Oh, yes.
The one I specifically remember having was Baby Fozzie on the yellow hobby horse with the wheels. I remember that one for some reason specifically, and I think I had Gonzo in that tricycle as well.
Fozzie was the only one I didn't have. I had the other 3.
Really? Interesting. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I love Muppet Babies. That was huge. A huge deal on Saturday mornings for me. So when that hit, it was like, yeah, I got to get these. But I don't remember having a couple of them. And I was reading, too, they released one in Canada that was Animal. That was the only where you could find that one. Animal and a wagon.
Let me refer to the book here. Fozzie, Gonzo, Kermit, Miss Piggy. Miss Piggy.
Well, you can take that one for what it's worth, because that was on, I think, the Muppets Wiki. So,
well, and it's possible. I mean, this may just be U.S.
Well, I saw the picture, so I'm pretty sure it happened. But yeah, those were the only 2 that I remember. But they were great. I thought they were good. And the commercials were great too, because it looks like Kermit was on a skateboard, and they made like a little ramp or something out of the box that he could skate down.
Yep. You would pop that in, and it would kind of lock, and you had a place to launch him from. And I remember getting the Kermit from. I was on a day trip with my old man when he must have been summertime, or I don't know. Let's see when this says it was released. I'm not seeing. It's not really important now. Anyway, but I remember taking Kermit on his little skateboard on the drive back, I guess, and just running him all over the dash and around the door panel, and just trying to entertain myself with that Kermit and skateboard that day.
Yeah, those are great. All right, what else you got?
Well, I am going to back to I'm staying in 1987 for the Berenstain Bears toys Happy Meal.
Yep.
And the boxes too. The boxes were really cool on those. But you had Papa Bear with a wheelbarrow, and Mama with a laundry basket, and brother on a scooter, and sister in a wagon. And there again, the Berenstain Bear books were my favorites, and the cartoon had come on, I think, CBS in 85. Hey, go back and listen to an old episode of the podcast and correct me if I'm wrong, folks, because we talked about it. It's 85. But anyway, so that was another easy one that she didn't mind getting me, because it just fit everything I was already doing anyway. And those were unique because they were the molded PVC figures. And they had the fuzzy heads for their bear skins, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I do remember those. I don't remember It seems like I had maybe one or two at most in my little like box of action figures or something, but it wasn't really a huge deal. But going back and watching the commercials and everything, and the boxes were great too. Almost like their houses, the tree house, right, and some other buildings or.
Well, they had the school and their house, and another thing, the treehouse part you're thinking of is the countertop display that McDonald's had.
Oh, okay.
Because it was the ad for them, and it had the little cellophane windows with each figure in it at different parts in the treehouse. It's a nice concept, nice display piece for that.
Cool. Yeah, those were great.
And I still have, and I think we featured it on a YouTube video where JJ was getting some stuff out of my retro cabinet. She actually pulled out the Papa Bear figure, and we talked about it.
I do remember that.
Still have my Papa Bear.
Cool. So the next one up for me was actually released about, I think they had 3 different releases. And the first one was in 1987. And that is the Changeables. Mm-hmm. The transforming McDonald's food items. I was lucky enough to find a couple at RetroCon. I think it was last year that we went. And I was like, oh, this is like an instant purchase for me. Because I remember having some. I remember having the Shake. And I think one of them came in the styrofoam boxes. I don't know if it was they had to have hot cakes maybe in one of them. And then they had like what was their old styrofoam cases, you know. Mm-hmm. But the ones that I picked up were the burger and the French fries.
See, they had a Big Mac sandwich, chicken McNuggets, and I'm looking at the picture. That's the one that kind of looks like a styrofoam container. Mm-hmm. Egg McMuffin, large French fries, quarter pounder, and milkshake.
So it looks like I got the French fries from the 87 collection. That's what's stamped on the bottom. And then I have the burger. That says 1988. So that must have been the next year. That's just the hamburger. It's not the Big Mac, or cheeseburger. So I found those two. I was so excited when I found those. I was like, oh, those are cool. Because I remember having those. Of course, that's the height of Transformers, GoBots. And they were smaller. They were kind of like, the GoBot style. So I remember like using them, interacting them with like the regular Transformers and GoBots as a kid. But I did not remember the ones. They had ones that were dinosaurs mixed in. And that was later. That was like that was in the 90s, I think, when I was doing some research. But the ones I remember are the earlier ones that were just the robots that turned from all the food items.
Yeah, I'm looking through 1988 here to see if I don't see any in 88.
Try 89. 87, I think it was 87, 89, and maybe 90.
87 was 89 was the multicolored Halloween pails.
And there went the burger. Oh, these are great, man. I think they've got them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 89 would have been.
Okay.
89 had a Lost in Space changeable. And Jeepers Peepers, Tongue Tippers, Who's That? Robo Cakes, Galactica Burger, Fry Force, Crypto Cup, Macro Mac, Turbo Cone, C2 Cheeseburger, Frybot.
That's cool that they named them, man.
Yeah, and they all had names like Transformers would.
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't as catchy as Optimus Prime or Starscream, but C2
Crypto
Cheeseburger.
Cup.
Yeah, C2 Cheeseburger is still pretty hot.
Frybot. Yeah.
Oh, I never had any of the changeables myself.
You never did?
I just missed out on those. I've seen them for years online, but I missed that altogether.
Oh, they're so great. I need to take these and, I talked about I like to fidget while I'm on the phone at work. Mm-hmm. I need to have these on my desk and I can just fidget with them while I'm at work. Cool. Okay. Well, what's next for you? You got one more, right?
Yeah, my last one is 1988, and you've already talked about Hot Wheels, but I picked this set from 88. Mm-hmm. And the 88 set is the one that had the speed ramp punch out in the box that we were talking about.
Okay.
And there were 12 different cars. It doesn't say anything about them being like a consecutive day release or anything. So I don't know what the release schedule for these were. But they also had multiple colors of the same cars.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the 57 T-Bird came in turquoise and white. And
cool.
Of course, now I see them both pictured here on the same advertisement too. But there were several of them. There was one, the Fire Eater fire truck, the famous red fire truck from Hot Wheels.
Mm-hmm.
They released an exclusive yellow and blue version of it for the Happy Meals. You could get the red or the yellow blue, and the yellow blue looks like it was really rare because the other cars in this price guide list everything being at $8 to $10, and that one's listed at $250 to $300. So it must have been pretty rare. Well, you think if you're a Hot Wheels collector, the McDonald's ones are, I ain't gonna say harder to find, but a lot of them are. I guess that one really is harder to find.
Yeah, because they do different paint schemes with the same body style and everything nowadays too. So that makes sense that they would have done that back in the day too. And if they're only at McDonald's versus a store, then they make it even more rare.
These were actually cars may have been given in different regions. It doesn't say. There was there's 2 of them here, 3 of them with asterisks that say they were only released on the East Coast. So I'm surprised those don't carry heftier price tags, because you just think naturally they'd be a little more limited.
Right.
But that's my list. What's last on yours?
The last one on mine, I don't remember ever collecting as a kid, but collecting Batman memorabilia over the years. I found these on eBay in their original packaging still. It's from 1991, the Batman Returns Happy Meal toys. And these, now it's funny going back and you're watching the commercials and doing some research. Some of these were not in the movie. Catwoman did not have her own little car that wagged a tail, No,
but that would have been awesome.
That would have been great. Penguin did have that kind of huge duck boat thing, but didn't have this one that has the spinning umbrella on the top. The Batmobile looks like the 89 Batmobile or 91. And then they got the 91. Yeah, 92. Yeah, 92. Right. It's 92. That's right. But and then this other one actually says 1991 on the packages. The other one kind of looks like the Bat Missile, but it's weird. It's got like tank tracks in the back, so it's not.
Yeah,
exact.
I'm seeing that. I've got pictures of them here.
But if you've ever done the research on these, there was like a huge backlash from parents and the whole, community that they were tying in Happy Meal toys to that movie, which was very dark toned and violent and all that. So it was one of the, I don't know if it was like the earliest one or if there was some other stuff beyond that. I can think of like Garbage Pail Kids where, parents were up in arms about and stopped some of that content from coming out, like the cartoon series. But yeah, this is the first time I remember hearing or thinking about something associated with a Happy Meal toy that was a huge, backlash moment. And they actually, I'm not sure if I think they got pulled like early, weren't available, like very long or something like that. I'll have to look into that. I don't know if your book has anything about that.
No, it don't go into details quite like that.
But just trying to do some research online, I could probably dig in and find out a little bit more about it. But it seemed that it was put out, there was a huge backlash, and they pulled them, early before either before the movie hit or something like that. Can't remember, but they're cool. I like I like that they're different. They're not necessarily specific for the movie, that they're almost their own thing, Which
well, they have. It looks like the actual Batmobile looks just like the one in the movie.
Right. So. The Batman Press and Go car. That one looks like the one where the Batmobile splits and the middle section kind of is the one that he drives and kind of goes through that building, I think it was.
Well, a couple of
movie.
notes on 92 there. Late 91, early 92 is when they quit doing the boxes because it shows the pictures of the bags. And
okay.
Batman Happy Meal came in a bag, but the bag was colored up to look like a comic book page. So that's kind of cool. But 92, listen to this murderer's row of premiums in Happy Meals. Just for all of 92, they done Back to the Future Happy Meals, Barbie, Hot Wheels, Batman, Cabbage Patch Kids, Tonka, Crayola, Michael Jordan Happy Meal, Halloween 92, whatever that is, Potato Head Kids, Real Ghostbusters, Tiny Toon Adventures, Yogi Bear, and Young Astronauts. So they were at their peak of tie-ins in that period, because I looked through the beginning of each year on here has a full list of all the Happy Meals. And in the early years, in the 80s, they'd have like 4 or 5 promotions and then 8 or 9 just generic McDonald's stuff.
Right.
So that's a pretty good list right there from 92. They were all in on the tie-ins.
Yeah, as far as licensed and
1990, I just flipped to it. Barbies and Hot Wheels together. Berenstain Bear books. Dink the Little Dinosaur. Halloween 90. Jungle Book. Peanuts, Rescuers Down Under, Super Mario 3, Tailspin, Tom and Jerry. That was a pretty good year too for Happy Meal toys.
And the commercials, like the Super Mario Brothers commercial, was great because it mixed like animation and actual kids, in the commercials. And they did some great advertising on television to get kids, ready to buy these things. Let's go through a few of these comments we got back. Bridget Prestwick, she said, a lot of people don't realize is that back then it was a special treat to go to some of these places. Showbiz, Chuck E. Cheese was almost like a local version of Disneyland or Disney World.
That's true.
And I had that experience early on that, there was this aura about going to McDonald's and sitting in those chairs that swiveled back and forth, at those little kid tables. That some had ashtrays on. No.
Well, that was for your candy cigarettes.
Right, yeah. Put your candy cigarette down while you're eating your Happy Meal. Adam, our buddy Adam, gave us a link over to a Retro Days article that I'll put in the notes. He just went back and broke down a lot of early McDonald's experiences and history and even some of his own personal pictures. So very cool stuff there. Gary at Mile High Samurai. Well, I like that handle.
That's our Gary.
That's our Gary? Okay. Yeah. He says, Chicken McNugget figures for the win. How do they play tennis with no arms? That's very true.
It's hard to tell what they're swinging that paddle with.
Right. And then finally, Mike Rallman at Be Our Guest Mike. Give me any of the classic McDonald's characters, Grimace, the Hamburglar, Mary McCheese, etc. And then he showed tweeted a picture of a recent trip with the new McNuggets toys that he got out of his blind bag. So, yeah, those characters, like you even said before, I don't know if they've ever did a like Funko Pops or any kind of separate marketing them from what they're putting in Happy Meals and stuff. But those characters are just classic, and they instantly bring back memories to early McDonald's visits and just being a kid in general, because they were on every commercial, and even like when they brought out the Fry Guys, and then of course the McNugget Buddies were huge when they started doing those, and man, they're just so ingrained in pop culture back then.
Well, we have a couple more feedback from our Patreon page too that you posted on. Jeff Sheldon from the Retro Network said he loved the Mac Tonight Moon Man, which I did too. Those commercials were catchy as could be. I also really loved the Berenstain Bear toys. They were little plastic figures, but covered in this soft velvet fuzz. I think we mentioned those. My first McDonald's memories, though, were the McDonald's bucks my parents would put in my Christmas stocking. But my favorite thing ever was the series of Muppet Babies books my mom bought me from McDonald's when I was homesick in kindergarten. Well, that's cool.
Books. Oh, cool.
Yeah, they had some books that come out later on. And Michael Woods, our buddy Tiny, says the $1 Million McDonald's Menu Song Contest. I love the song and could do it from start to finish back in the day.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
And his favorite burger was the McLean, and he loved the pizza. He's one of the 4 people who like the pizza.
McDonald's pizza. I do remember that. I remember the McLean too. That was a big deal.
That $1 Million Song Contest, that's the one where they sent the little flimsy paper record out in the newspaper, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It was a record, but it was square. And I think you're right. They put it in the paper.
I'm pretty sure it's where we got ours.
And then you played it, tried to memorize the song. I can't remember how you won the contest or something, but it was like, basically the whole McDonald's menu in a song form.
I'm sure he's listening. So I'd like to invite Tiny to come on the show and sing us the $1 Million McDonald's menu song at some point in the near future.
Hell, he could just go over to YouTube, pull that audio and record himself singing along with it. That would be great.
Well, hey, I tell you what, speaking of YouTube, we'll give Tiny a shout out. He's been so good to us. You can head over to YouTube and check out his channel, Mountain Way Adventures. You don't spell the word mountain. It's just MTN space way space adventures. Great Southern boy with great hunting and fishing videos, if you're into that sort of thing. So go show Tiny some love.
Yeah. Do that on your next hunting trip there, Tiny.
Yes.
Break that out in the middle of the woods and dance around or whatever you want to do. Or from your tree stand, just shout it into the woods.
I don't believe Tiny is a tree stand type of guy.
Okay. I catch your drift there. I'm not a large man by any sorts, and I hate tree stands myself just because of the height. But
no, I think it's not necessarily that. Tiny's just more of a pure hunter. So
I got you. Okay.
He likes to track them down and kill them with a pocket knife. He don't wait on them. He stalks them.
That's great. Okay, well, we're gonna end the time machine segment. We're going to come back real quick here and wrap up things for you, give you what's coming up on the Retro Network and a couple shout outs for you. So stay tuned.
Dr. Emmett L. Brown here. Through the wonder of video spectronomy, I'm recording an amazing phenomenon. McDonald's Back to the Future Hamburger Happy Meal for $1.99. Analysis shows it comes with one of 4 toys, like Marty McFly, some old guy in my DeLorean. Holy bovine, is he familiar. Switching to X-ray mode reveals 1 toy each week when you buy your kids a $1.99 McDonald's Happy Meal. Perhaps I should forgo further documentations and just have lunch.
What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
It's Mario! Look, Ronald, Mario's mystery block makes him big.
And my magic box makes us lunch.
What's in McDonald's Happy Meal? One of 4 Nintendo Super Mario Brothers 3 toys. A Mario toy that jumps, or an acrobatic little Goomba, a pullback Luigi, or a hopping Koopa Paratroopa. 1 toy with each Happy Meal you buy.
All right, we are back. Man, that was a great discussion. We even talked about going and maybe doing a follow-up podcast on like other Happy Meals from other restaurants or whatever. Kids meals.
Yeah, the Happy Meal is full of these iconic toys and boxes and things, but there were some really nice promotions from other places like Hardee's, Wendy's, Burger King, and some others that I think at some point we should do our top 5 of stuff not McDonald's Happy Meals.
Yeah, I think we should definitely circle back for that. This was fun this week. So what do we got coming up?
Well, let's first start with what we had. This past week, Michael was back at the Retro Network. An awesome piece people need to go check out called 30 Years On, the Pop Culture of 1989. He hit a lot of topics from that year. A lot of big events and some pop stars and things. Really, really fun read. And this coming week, we got a couple of things. I was going to mention, you already mentioned it, but your Happy Meal tribute video is a fantastic little piece of business that will be dropping within an hour of the time this podcast drops. It'll be on the YouTube page and on the Retro Network. And not to make anybody jealous, but the video has already dropped over on our Patreon page as an early sneak preview for our patrons. So they're getting to watch it a few days before everybody else. It's one of the benefits of being a patron.
It's okay making other people jealous.
Adam has a wonderful, wonderful piece coming up tomorrow that just warmed my heart, and I actually read it twice when I was editing it. 10 awesome comic book gimmicks of the 90s, and that's when comic books were very gimmicky oriented, trying to play to the speculator market, but they did come up with some fantastic technology. As low down as their motives were for doing it, they did put out some pretty cool stuff. So you people read comics in the 90s need to go check that out. Also, speaking of Patreon, I couldn't stop with just 5 favorite Happy Meals. So also dropping within an hour of this podcast on Tuesday is 5 more of my favorite Happy Meal toys. It's a written feature on Patreon exclusive. So nice. People should go check that out. And to me, this is the biggest news. Our new Retro Network YouTube series is launching this Wednesday, the day after you hear this. You and I have talked about it a little bit. Mm-hmm. Wax Pack Flashback, where every week I'm going to be opening another old pack of trading cards and letting you watch along over my shoulder. The way I set the camera up, you can see the cards very clearly in my hands. And every Wednesday, and this Wednesday, the first one are G.I. Joe Real American Hero trading cards. Ooh. So figured I started off with a high grade retro property like that.
I picked up a pack of those that I have not opened yet at RetroCon this year. I don't know if I need to do that and along as I watch the video or save them for another time.
Well, you may want to watch the video and see if they're worth opening.
There you go.
It may be better just to look at them in the pack than to see them loose. But no, and a lot of people who follow me know I've been collecting unopened packs of trading cards for a long time, and I'm going to start opening a bunch of them and share the experience with everybody. One, maybe you had them and it'll bring back some good memories. Maybe you wanted them and never got them, and you finally get to see a pack get open, or just you want to live vicariously through somebody else doing cool stuff like that. But it's going to be a new ongoing series from the Retro Network every Wednesday. Got plans for the first 8 episodes takes us up to the first of the year. Some special Christmas episode, special Thanksgiving episode that week. So hope people will check that out. Head over to the YouTube channel and subscribe so you don't miss the notifications on those.
Cool.
There'll be some other stuff this week too in various forms and fashions, but those are the highlights.
Hey man, that's enough for me. That's great stuff there. That's awesome. I also wanted to shout out a couple people. Tony from Retro Days, who's been our guest on here a couple times. I did forget to mention that coming up on the RD's detention is going to be Captain N the Game Master. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe even Adam alluded to that or he alluded to that when he was on with you. But be looking for that, and we'll obviously post that in the TRN theater when that drops. But Tony left us his list of favorite movies from the 90s over there on Facebook as a comment. I thought I'd go through these real quick. And the way he did it was he did one for each year, which is a little bit different than what we did. But some of his favorites, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Terminator 2, Wayne's World, Groundhog Day, and Dumb and Dumber, which are on my list. Mm-hmm. GoldenEye, Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore should have made my list. Dante's Peak. I've got one other person in my corner. Yes.
Okay, so I was wrong. There's 2 of you.
The Big Lebowski, which of course was Mickey's number 1, and Office Space. Oh man, that should have made my list. I've watched that so many times, and I think it just came in 1999, so right under the the 90s there to qualify.
I don't have his list in front of me, but I don't remember where he sent it to us at. But Tiny done the same thing. He sent us his list of movies, or maybe he texted me. Let me see if I've got that on here. Now, so Tiny texted me and he said 3 of his top 5 didn't make our list, and that was Shawshank Redemption, of course, mm-hmm. A River Runs Through It, and Silence of the Lambs. All fantastic movies. The problem with Flickchart, and we've talked about this on the shows, is you're only seeing what they're showing you, and you're picking between them. Sometimes, like the Shawshank Redemption, trust me, if it had have come up in front of me to rank, it would have been in my top 10. But it didn't, so we were going strictly. And that's the curse, but also the fun of Flickchart is when we're doing the list is you get to talk about movies that wouldn't normally be in your top 10, but they're in your top 10 Flickchart.
That's right, and you hit the nail on the head because we didn't have one matching one on each of our lists, right?
Right.
So
yeah,
that obviously makes for better conversation than having 5 of the same ones in both of our lists, you know. So
I think you need to put a poll up on Twitter and Facebook on people if they preferred Volcano or Dante's Peak.
Okay.
Now, you know, just for posterity's sake, I'd like to see really what the opinion is, because they both come out the same year and they were both volcano themed. It's a natural match, and I just wonder who's a bigger fan of what. It can be fun.
Well, we'll do that. We'll do that this week, and we'll see who the king is of the Retro Network. All right. Did you have one more piece of shout out?
Yeah, actually, I got 2 more.
Oh, okay.
One is on Facebook. This past week on the Retro Network, Adam had a new feature drop, RoboCop and the Ultra Police. I'd buy that for $1, where he talks about the RoboCop action figures from years ago. And we got a comment on that from Shannon Talbert. It says, I was the friend who had no parental supervision that did and watched whatever they wanted. Thankfully, my mother, being a hoarder, has allowed me to still own most of my childhood toys, and that includes a well-played-with RoboCop action figure. Nice. And I messaged him back that I'm jealous.
Yeah, no kidding.
Now, I know this Shannon Talbert, and I had no idea he still had most of his toys from when he was a kid.
Time to invite him over for dinner. Yeah.
No. It's time for him to invite me over to dinner to see the toys.
Oh yeah, Shannon and Mick having a play date.
Yeah, I run into Shannon at comic book conventions in the Tri-Cities and stuff. So I'm gonna have to.
There you go.
Connect with him. And just as we were talking about this, we had one more piece of information come in from Chris Pingelski Heiska. Pardon me if I mispronounced that, to let us know that McDonald's is giving away throwback Happy Meal toys for a limited time. Hey, thanks for that. We were already aware, but thanks, and just in case we weren't. Any other hot tips you got, just keep on sending them. And any other stuff people think that we may have missed or should know about, let us know on social media.
Yeah, and like I said, we could do a whole show on just recurrent events headlines that I compile each week, but I miss stuff too all the time that we probably should be talking about and discussing, but just don't make the show. So that's why we initiated that article, to just dump everything over there, and everybody can check out each Sunday. Give you something to do, before the week hits. So appreciate everybody listening, and as always, you know where to find us. TRN Social, at RD80s, at Yesterdayville. And we are still wanting you to go ahead and rate us. Leave us a comment, star rating in whatever app you use. Help us to spread the word about the podcast. And, man, this was fun, man. Like I said, we got to circle back, because those light switch cover from Burger King that were like Thundercats.
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, I remember that.
They glowed in the dark, man. Gosh, those were great.
A little sneak preview too, the Willow Magic Cups from Wendy's that changed. It added to the picture on the side of the cup.
That's
with
right.
Cold liquid in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of cool stuff that wasn't McDonald's. A whole lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to circle back for that. So, all right, man. We'll for Frybot and C2 Hamburger.
C2 Cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's going to come to life at night, and I don't know.
Oh, I forgot to mention. Besides the 5 more Happy Meals list on Patreon I put together, my Retro Ramblings column that would have dropped yesterday as this drops, I added yet an 11th one as part of that thing. It's my lead story. It's one of my other favorite Happy Meals from McDonald's.
Cool. We'll keep it
a lot
going.
of Happy Meal talk this week. Good gosh.
Yeah, we need to be happy after, Pringles ran us over with their turkey bus. We need to stay happy, man. Stay kids.
You just had to pick the scab, didn't you?
I'm sorry. All right. Well, we're going to have a better week this week, man, and have a good one.
Thanks for listening to the Retro Network Podcast channel. Make sure you listen to all of the great podcasts we have to offer right here in this feed. If you enjoy our channel, please give us a 5-star rating in your favorite podcast app. Connect with us on social media by following TRN Social, and visit the retronetwork.com website for your daily retro fix. Come back next week for another episode of the Retro Network Podcast.